Hi, BookTube. I'm Peg, the Book Prize Addict, back after a little bit of a away time, and I have something to admit that I have changed my mind on something. Okay, I have been stating to several people, like other booktubers, that I'm going to spend the next year not following prizes. I've followed the prizes for years and years. And it was just, I thought it was getting old, or I wasn't too pleased with some of the prizes last year. So I told everybody I'm going to spend the year reading from my shelf and reading older books. And it sounded good. So I started off in January doing that, joined some groups, etc. And just this last week, a lot of the prizes that I always follow have come out, the long list and short list. And I, made the mistake of looking at them, and they look so good and so fun. I just gave up my vow. I'm still going to follow book prizes. I think I am going to follow, I've always liked the minor ones, even from other countries, that would have me reading books I wouldn't have read otherwise. So I think I'll probably do those. There's many and many new ones, but I think I'll just not do the major prizes, because we have wonderful booktubers now that talk about the Booker and the Women's Prize and all those. We've got Eric Carl Anderson and Bob the Booker. Both of them are wonderful. So I'll just listen to them on the big prizes. So all of a sudden, I have a whole bunch of prizes I want to talk about. But I'm going to talk about one today that was interesting. I was Googling around looking for prizes that I've found in the past. And all of a sudden, this thing came out that the grand prize, or the biggest, richest prize in Australia, had just been announced. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I have any of those. Well, I'll tell you, I went to it, and oh, it looked like some good ones. Now, it's hard to get Australian books, but I still like to, look up and look about. So I'm going to just start out with a brief little thing on this prize, which is called the Victorian Premier Prize. I don't understand how things are set up in Australia, really, but it is very lucrative. And I'll get to the grand winner in a minute. That's the high point of this. But I wanted to go over a couple of the other things that were other prizes that were in it. The prize for Indigenous writing, called the Upwelling, won that prize, and it deals with the culture and practices of some indigenous people. And I love the cover. I love all their covers. And one of them I didn't, but now I do. Okay, so that one looks good. The prize for young adults, another great cover, We Who Hunt the Hollow. And this one actually takes place in Melbourne, and it's a futuristic Melbourne, which would be really fun if you knew Melbourne. Anybody from Melbourne here? Anyway, that looks also good. And then, I don't usually show these, but here's the poetry winner, At the Altar of Touch. And, I think if I'm going to follow so many prizes, I'm going to get used to reading a little poetry. Although I can't afford this when Australian books are really expensive. But anyway, this deals with grief, cross-cultural, and queer identity. So it's right in the moment with its things. Now, the big prize, actually there's two big prizes. There's the overall prize, and then there's prize for fiction. And it was won by the same person. Oh, here's the announcement for it. She's a Melbourne author. I hope somebody's answering that. Okay. And I'm going to try to link this down below so you can read more about all the winners, etc. But it's Jessica A.U. Au, and her book has been very popular both here and I think in England. And so I read it over. It's quite short, real quickly, and I enjoyed it even more the second time. It really is a great book. It has to do with a grown woman, young woman, who meets her mother in Tokyo, and they have a vacation, kind of a tourist together. Now that brought a lot of feelings back for me. Evidently, she lives somewhere and doesn't see her mother that often, and that's how I was always with my mother. I always lived in completely different state, if not a different country, and we'd get together. And she makes a comment about the feelings that you have when you see each other, you know each other, but you haven't really been together. And she says it's strange at once to be so familiar yet separated. And yeah, that's how it is. Believe it or not, my mother's still alive, 102, and she still reads books. Anyway, but her mother also does something I remember my doing that drove me crazy. She reads her horoscope to her on, and not only hers, but her brothers and her friends and this and that. I don't know why mothers love to read your horoscope, but mine did too. Okay, anyway, so one of the things I was going to complain about is the cover on this. It just didn't look good to me. I mean, actually, I darkened it some. It's very pastel. And in the book, she actually sees a painting, and her description, I'm sure, applies to this painting. She says it's either in watercolor or chalk. It looks like impressions, it lifted from a memory or a dream. It's formless and ghost-like. Yeah. It's, she goes on to say, as if the artist smeared his fingers into the paint and put it on that way, or submerged it in water right after he finished it. But you know, when I thought about all that, I liked it better, and I darkened it some. So anyway, well, I'm going to do some more prizes. There's so many out, so many good ones that I just imagine I might be back soon with some more prizes. Happy reading.